talking about asexuality with potential romantic partners. This video's topic was provided by one of my Patreon subscribers, Dawn. Thank you, Dawn, for asking this question and bringing this idea up. It is a terrific one. If you want to join the Ace Dad Advice Patreon community, where you can suggest topics for YouTube videos, you get a monthly podcast, there are opportunities for live hangouts, and other really cool Ace Dad Advice extras that you can't find on the social media platforms, you can find me over at patreon.com/acedadadvice. Just a couple of dollars will allow you to support the project. It helps me out, helps Ace Dad Advice grow, and you get to join in with a really cool community of people. So thanks, Dawn, and join us on Patreon. Patreon.com/acedadadvice. Revealing your asexuality to a prospective romantic partner can be an incredibly stressful thing. So how do we approach this problem? How do we navigate that really complicated space when you're at the beginning of a new relationship, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of possibility, and you want to introduce your asexuality to who is likely going to be an allo partner? When is the right time to disclose? So the question of disclosure, when is the right time to tell someone that you're ace, is a question that comes up all the time. And the answer that I normally give is maybe a little unsatisfying for people. My answer always is the time to tell someone that you're asexual is when you feel it is the right time to share that with someone. There are a lot of folks out there who feel that it is important that it's something we talk about right away, right off the top, that we owe it to an allo person to make it clear that we're ace, big disclaimer right from the get-go. And while I understand their reasoning, I don't necessarily think that is always the right approach for someone, and I don't always think that has to be true. I think it's very important as asexual people that we maintain the autonomy over our identity. Ace or allo, we should always feel as though we have the power to decide when someone new in our life learns something personal and important to us. We should get to decide and feel we have the power to decide when someone learns about those things. So sure, you don't want to wait until you're marrying someone to reveal that you're asexual. That's, probably holding the secret in the bag a little too long. But you don't have to feel compelled to immediately start every relationship with a coming out moment before you even learn the person's last name or what they do for a living. I think it's important for us to choose the right time for us to disclose. When do I feel safe with this person? When do I feel like I trust this person with this information? That's when it's okay to share that. That's when you should feel empowered to share that. So I've decided to tell them, what now? So the what now starts with some prep work. I think it's important for all of us as asexual people to think through how we explain our asexuality to someone else. Asexuality isn't a monolithic experience, so saying I'm asexual means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And in a culture where there's very little information about asexuality to begin with, most people are going to be hearing that phrase, I'm asexual, and not necessarily be carrying correct information. They'll be carrying stereotypes, misconceptions, or most commonly, just a lot of confusion because they've either never heard of it before or have never thought about it before. So it's important for us as asexual people to be able to follow I'm asexual with a clear explanation of what that means to us and how asexuality operates in our lives. Some things you want to make sure that you have included in that preparation: How do you explain asexuality? Then you want to think about how you're going to explain how you relate to asexuality. What does the word asexual mean in relation to you? So when you're explaining, I'm asexual, so that means this for me. That means I'm kind of interested in this, means I'm not really interested in that. The important part about preparing that and thinking that through ahead of time is so that you don't have to stumble through it, that you don't have to come up with it on the fly. You can have this conversation confidently because you know what you're going to say. Make room for questions. So in this conversation with potential romantic partners, it's good for us to make room for questions. Chances are the person that we are going to be engaging with in a relationship is going to come to the table with less information than you about asexuality. And even if they are well armed with an understanding of asexuality, they're meeting your asexuality for the first time. So no matter what, you are in the position of having a lot more information than the other person. And it's good for us to be open to and make room for questions. Allowing room for our potential romantic partner to have some questions about what we've shared in that prepared presentation that we do about asexuality helps make that space a little more collaborative, and it helps make the space a little more open. Being open for questions creates something really important. A moment where you and your partner are now thinking about the ways your identities intersect in a collaborative way. Will they ask potentially insensitive questions? Sure, that's the nature of these conversations. Do you have to put up with that? No, you can be clear. Hey, that's an inappropriate question, or I'm not comfortable answering that with you. But just being open and allowing space for curiosity to enter into your relationship with this person around asexuality is a really positive thing overall. Have them talk about themselves. Another great way to make this conversation a little more collaborative is to ask your partner the same questions that you've had to ask yourself all your life. So you've thought through your identity and you've thought through all of these very specific things, your relationship to sex, physical intimacy, your relationship to attraction, the kinds of attractions you experience. Ask your partner, allo or not, the same thing. So ask your partner, well, how do you relate to sex? How do you relate to attraction? Which attractions do you feel most prominently, and in what way are they directed? It's not just about you sharing your asexuality. It now becomes about both of you sharing your sexual identities in their completeness in a full and thoughtful way. And while they may never have thought about that before, it's certainly an interesting conversation to have, and it takes the focus off of you, and it takes the focus off of your asexuality. This is an ongoing conversation. Lastly, just remember, this isn't a one and done situation. This is an ongoing conversation that you'll have with your partners. I am in 2 long-term relationships with allo folks. One of them is 9 years old at this point. We've been married that whole time. And my other relationship is with someone who I've been together with for over a year. And we are still having ongoing conversations about my sexual identity and how I identify and how I experience sex and sexual attraction, and how they do as well. This is an ongoing conversation. It's not going to be something you do once and then forget about. So you and your partner can think of this as an ongoing conversation. You and your partner are building something unique together, and it will change and evolve over time. So keep the conversation open. Keep the door open to future iterations of this conversation where you're sharing things about yourself. What's new? What's evolved? What maybe you are now open to that you maybe weren't before? What they are maybe open to that they maybe weren't before? Identity is a process. Relationships are a process. Keep an open mind and keep an eye toward the long term. So I hope this advice was helpful. One last thing to remember, don't apologize for being ace. We have nothing to apologize for. Asexuality is not a liability. It is not an obstacle that someone else has to overcome to love or care about us. Don't apologize for it. Asexuality is part of what makes you you. Bring it to the table as one of the features of being with you. not a bug. See you all in the next video.